Hello! How is everybody? I guess we all have been better, although given the situation, let's try to make the most of it, and I hope you can learn something with me. My name is Maria de Almeida. I am psychoanalyst, so if you have any questions about my videos or therapy, now more than ever, you have all my contact details online. Today I wanted to spend some time talking about the psychosomatic disorder. I want to make sure that you understand how important is, now again more than ever, because the situation can lead to trigger a lot of anxiety. It is super important that you treat your anxiety on time. Why? Because if you left anxiety and other anxiety-related syndromes like hypochondria untreated, they can lead to a psychosomatic disorder. Psychosomatic disorder is something severe. It can lead to life-threatening disease, like for example, autoimmune disease. Traditional medicine cannot explain this disease. They recognize there is like a link with our psyche, but they become chronic, they cannot cure them. In all the autoimmune disease, our immune system is affected. And the immune system is very linked to the psychic life of the patient. This is why in autoimmune disorders, it's very important that on top of the medical treatment, people have psychoanalytical treatment. According to traditional medicine, currently they recognize that there are 7 diseases which are considered psychosomatic. They could be like the ulcer, rheumatoid arthritis, colitis, dermatitis, asthma, and hypertension. They call them psychosomatic because they cannot explain it, but they recognize that our psyche is implied. They become chronic, and depending on how severe they are, the life of the patient will be more or more impacted. They can even be deadly. You can die from them. Psychoanalysis understands the psychosomatic disorder like another psychic structure. It's like a hysteria, like a obsessive-compulsive disorder. It means that it's a position in the language, and as such, you can change it with analysis. Psychoanalytical listening allows us to distinguish which structure is sustaining all the symptoms. The same sentence, say by a hysterical patient, has a different meaning that the same sentence says by a psychosomatic patient. Let's see this with an example. Let's say that a hysterical patient says, I fear my mom died. So, with the psychoanalysis tool, we can read, I wish my mom died, I fear my wish come true. So there is an unconscious wish of death of the mom. However, if the same sentence is said by a psychosomatic patient, let's say, I fear my mom died, that is fear. There is no unconscious wish behind it. The important thing in psychosomatic disorder is that they have a lot of anxiety. There is a lot of quantum of anxiety floating that can get attached to feared representations. As I told you at the beginning, it has been proved that people who suffer from psychosomatic disorder have previously a story of long-term anxiety or other anxiety-related disorders like hypochondria. This means that not everybody who suffers from anxiety and hypochondria will in the end develop a psychosomatic disorder, although there is a big chance if you leave it untreated. What is true is that it has been proved that people who suffer from psychosomatic disorder had suffered before from anxiety or hypochondria. This is why it's so important that you treat hypochondria or anxiety-related disorders. Because remember, in hypochondria or anxiety disorders, there is no injury in the body. However, if you end up developing a psychosomatic disorder, it's a step further. There is an injury in the body. It can become chronic. Some characteristics of the psychosomatic patients. For them, it's very difficult to talk. They use closed sentence, like, I have an ulcer. Why is that? Because for these people, it's very difficult to manage uncertainty. Remember that anxiety comes from not being able to tolerate uncertainty. So for them, believe it or not, they prefer the certainty of the disease that the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen in the future. Another characteristic is that they talk with a monotonal speech, like life was doing to them this, they have done to me that, but they are not implied at all in what is happening. Another characteristic would be talking about the relationship they have with other people, especially with their partner, is that they are very rigid. They want someone who is a photocopy of themselves. They cannot tolerate the difference. So imagine, at every time that the partner does not behave as they want them to behave, the relationship is at risk of being broken, and even more than that, they are very intolerant, and from the very beginning they are trying to achieve an impossible. They are trying to change their partner, and they want them to be as they want them to be. So that's impossible. We all are very complex. We all have our own wishes and our ways of doing things. The reason why the psychosomatic patient does this with their partners is because they are trying to delete the difference. I'm not going to go deeper into this, but learning to tolerate differences is a key part in the development of our psychic apparatus. And this is something that the psychosomatic patients have failed to do. This is why the treatment of psychosomatic patients is about letting them talk. They need to learn to talk. For them, thinking is very painful. Why? Because in future there is life, but there is also a lot of uncertainty, and most importantly, there is death. They cannot accept that one day they will die, so for them, they prefer to injure an organ other than trying to accept reality. I know this is very complex. I hope I didn't scare you. All that I want is that now more than ever, you treat your anxiety, in case you have it, so that you don't develop a psychosomatic disorder. Thank you very much. Bye!